What's shaking, everybody? Luke Dancy here, and I am super stoked today to chat with this guy, Mr. Ben Williams. As you can see there, he lectured at the Blackpool Magicians Club not too long ago. That's right, this guy is a creator of magic, he is a performer of magic, and he is also the magic dad. We'll talk more about that in just a moment, but my buddy from across the pond is going to join me right now, Mr. Ben Williams. How we doing, sir?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am doing well, and big shout out for you for hanging out with us today. So thank you very much. Thank you. All right. And happy holidays. I see you got the hat on, so happy holidays to you.
You gotta rock the Santa hat. So.
Yeah. And you've been doing a lot of that online, and we'll talk more about some of the magic videos you've been posting like every single day, which is quite a feat. You know, I've had a chance to know you for quite a while through the online space. We've connected over the years. For the people that don't know you, why don't you give them a quick summary of who you are and where you are out there in the world? Because, you know, we're connected all over the world now. So where is Ben Williams? Where are you?
Well, I did actually think about this. I thought I would start with a bit of a backstory.
Okay.
So...
Nice.
Oh,
wow. Oh, you cheeky man. How good is that? I didn't even know that was coming. That's funny. Good on you. That's awesome, dude. Backstory.
Well, you just got my Zoom intro for my gigs for Zoom. But yeah, so I'm Williams, if you don't know me. And yeah, I've been doing magic for, oh goodness. I was not ashamed to say I'm one of the Blaine children. So when Blaine first came out with street magic, I was just taken by that. I was actually trying to be a DJ at the time, and I thought if I learned some magic and DJ, then I could go around showing people magic and make people book me as a DJ more, and I'd become a superstar DJ. And yeah, very quickly the magic kind of took off, and the DJing dived, and yeah, I'm here where I am now. So, right. But I'm very lucky. I've spent the past 20 odd years just doing something that I love doing. So I think that's important to do in life, isn't it? So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Sweet.
I create magic.
Yeah.
Like I said.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, like that you can find something that you love, you know, like we do, magic, and find a way to make a career out of it. And I know things are a little different now as far as performing situations go. I know you were really heavily plugged into the wedding scene and a lot of other stuff like that. But you've definitely have pivoted, and you've made the best of the situation, at least from what I can see on my side. So
no, it's been good. It's been good. So yeah, I think with weddings, especially in the UK here, as soon as kind of COVID rose and there was a lockdown in March, everything shut down. All the weddings were just like boom, gone. And a lot of the early weddings that I had booked for the beginning of the year, they postponed until sort of February, March time next year. And they're already cancelling again and postponing till 2022, because what's kind of happened is everyone's now booked out 2021. So even like Tuesdays and Wednesdays at wedding venues are gone. And so now they're 2022, and you just got to kind of be like, wow, this sucks, but it sucks more for you than it does for me. So whatever I can do to help you, I'll do that. And awesome. I'll see you in a year.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you've also managed to find your way online. You told me just a little while ago you were actually doing a virtual show. So
yes,
you jumped into that.
Why I'm a bit formal, aren't I? That was mainly for the intro. I've been lucky enough that I haven't truly. I feel very, very, very satisfied now. I've been very lucky that I've just had, because I haven't promoted myself on the Zoom platform this year. So I've been doing something else entirely. And I've been very lucky that a few Zoom gigs have come in over December. And yeah, it's been interesting. It's been good. Done a couple of Zoom lectures as well, which is good.
Cool. Very cool.
It's a different kind of platform though, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. And hopefully it's something that once live performing comes back, a lot of people leave that in the dust and like get in front of real people. I know we were talking about that before we started, where you do the Zoom stuff and it's like you see people react, but you can't hear them usually because of the mute. function.
yeah,
Um,
and any
yeah.
kind of disbelief, like
Oh yeah.
when you see people in face and there's disbelief, you kind of know that's disbelief, but when they're a tiny little square on a screen, they kind of just look angry, and it's like, are you enjoying it? I don't know.
That's funny, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could see the disconnect is definitely there.
yeah. There
And
are benefits. There are huge
oh yeah,
benefits. Being
yeah.
able to have everything set up just in front of you, like no pocket management. Oh God, amazing. Just having everything planned. You have a structured time that you're on for, and and so a lot of things are. It takes a lot of stress out of a lot of situations because sometimes when you're gigging, I'm driving all over the country to venues I haven't been to before and things like that, and you have to. I have a kind of process in my gigging where I make sure that I've got my bag all sorted, like the day before or the morning, and then I can just not think about it, because I found back way long ago when I started performing professionally and getting paid for gigs,
Hmm.
I found I was putting too much pressure on myself, and for days before the gig, I'd get nervous
Oh
about it,
yeah.
and I'd just be like, oh. And so I now have a process that helps me it's completely helped me get rid of all the nerves, and it's kind of, yeah, like a lot of that is gone with the Zoom gigs
Sweet.
because I'll run you through it anyway because it might benefit some other people. But the first thing is, I like to write a list of the tricks that I'm going to be performing, just so that I have it clear in my head. I find that if I write a list, I see it on a list, then it's not in my head as much. And then I pack the bag, make sure that's all sorted like the day before. My suit's all clean and ready to go and everything. And then what I do is I don't think about it. I don't think about it until I obviously I Google where I'm going and make sure that I know how far away it is and everything like that. And so once I've got all that, there's nothing else that I can really do. So I know my stuff. I know everything's going to be all right that front. So the next step is just to drive to the gig in plenty of time.
Yep.
And I get to the gig. First thing is I go into wherever I have to perform. I meet the booker, speak to them. If I have to show a couple of tricks to them, I show a couple of tricks to them there. And I suss out the area. And then I go back to my car and I just sit there and just breathe for, a couple of seconds, well, a couple of minutes probably. And I just think about the air going into my lungs and going out, and that just centers me completely. And then
Cool.
I go out and rock it. Really, you just go out and don't hesitate. Just boom, go. The group that is a bit rowdy or you're a bit worried about, go and tackle them. Maybe do an easy group first, get
Yeah.
your swing, and then go boom straight for them. Don't wait for them because that's just something that you'll anticipate. And just get them out of the way. You'll find out that it's never as bad as it seems. It's never as bad as what you think it is in your
Yeah,
head.
that's true. And I hope you guys are taking notes because this is stuff you only learn from doing these kind of things when you're out there performing. So I hope you're taking notes on some of these things from a pro that's out there doing this stuff. Not only are you out there performing, but you're also creating a lot of magic, and you've had a lot of really, really good releases, even recent ones that we were going to talk about too. Some really fun stuff for people. I know this one popping up now is your most recent. This is a download that's out there, been floating around. Gimmick It Yourself 2, number 2. And obviously, gimmick it yourself means that there's some do it yourself. And that's why I wanted to chat with you about this one in particular, because it comes with, there's 4 tricks on the download, right? And I'll let you tell them more about what the details are. I'm going to play some of the video while you're telling them what is on that exciting new download. So what is on Gimmick It Yourself 2, Mr. Ben Williams?
So Gimmick It Yourself 2 is 4 different gimmicks you can make yourself at home that allow you to do loads of different stuff, basically. They are, there's Evo there, Phony, Real Worker, and Utilite. So Evo's a little gimmick that I came up with, which is just allows you to do loads of visual stuff, Raven type vanishes and things like that, and vanishes that look like a Raven but don't use magnets and things. Like more and more I play with this thing, the more and more stuff I come up with it.
Cool.
Phony is a phone through table gimmick, or you can use it to do a phone vanish of a borrowed phone. And then there's the real worker. The real worker is just my take on like the pull. It's just a real simple pull gimmick that you can make that kind of can replace a thumb tip for a lot of things. And then there's also Utilite, which is a lighter gimmick, which was spawned from my love of the Scotch and soda gimmick. Nice. And it's basically a little lighter gimmick that can help you do vanishes. And so I show, first of all, what all the gimmicks are, and then I show you how to make them, and then I teach you loads of routines and stuff to go with them so that you have the whole package there if you want. But they obviously are gimmicks which my whole ethos with the Gimmick It Yourself projects is to give people ideas which they can take everything from it and get good value out of it, and never have to think about anything again, still get great value. They don't have to put their input into it. But the idea is that they also open up a lot of avenues for you to explore your own creativity with them. Sweet. So you might find that one of these gimmicks fits perfectly into a working routine that you have, or an idea that you have, and it might just be a missing link somewhere. So, you know, I'm kind of the school of old Jay Sankey videos, and there was I got it on VHS. This is how long ago it was. I had Sankey 1999, and I remember watching it, and it's him sat in his kitchen. Looks like it's about 2 a.m. He's proper tired and all beat up. He's like, and he's going through all these tricks and routines, and he even, you know, some of them are just half-baked ideas, which he's like, this is the idea. He has this great idea for getting a ring or something inside an egg, which is inside a bag, or inside a cup in a bag or something like that. And he's like, I couldn't make it into a routine, but it's here, there, have it. If it does something for you, maybe it sparks something, then that's great. And so I've kind of drawn on that, and cool. That kind of inspiration, and thought, well, these are the things that have solved problems for me. You know, or help my creativity, or inspired certain things, and, you know, filled gaps. And so the whole idea is to just put it out there as a whole package. I mean, I probably could have, you know, made each of the gimmicks up individually and sold them as single products or something like that. But for me, I feel like it's just I feel more comfortable in providing information, as much as I can, you know. So most of my downloads are like 2 hours long, 2.5 hours long. This Get Yourself is just over 2.5 hours long. So wow. You know, they're kind of they're driven by passion more than anything else, I think, is the best way of putting it.
Nice. All right. Well, you guys, the nice thing is, you know, with shipping and the post office and everybody's slowing down right now because of the holidays, the cool thing is, if this sounds like something you're into, it is available to download. So you can go to your favorite magic shop and you can download it today and start to play with this stuff. A fun thing to do over the Christmas break, the winter break. Yeah. So that is one of your new things. I have 2 of my own personal picks, Ben Williams classics, as I like to call them. These are things that you've created over the years, that I have actually used these things myself, and I wanted the guys to know about them as well. That's why I'm glad we're having a chance to chat, because we're going to get to know you. We already have, but more about your creative process too, and some other fun things. But this one right here, this is labeled Evolution. I remember seeing you at Blackpool. I think it was last year, dropping this. You were walking around the Ruskin, and I think you were showing me this along with Julius Dean and some other people. I think you had this ready. Yeah. We were in the hallway there, and you were doing this. What a great piece of magic, man! I've got it queued up as well. If you want to tell the guys a little bit about what this is. Obviously, the video will explain it for itself. But what is labeled Evolution?
So labeled is a label inside the sealed bottle effect, essentially. So I originally came out with the idea for labeled back in 2004 or 5, I think. And it's kind of, I've never stopped thinking about the product. I've never, stopped thinking about how to improve it and everything. So labeled evolution is every decent idea I've had on the label inside bottle effect. And so this is visual penetrations. So one of the key things that really bugged me was when you do labeled, or when I used to do it, the only real drawback that I ever had was if somebody posed the question of the label already being inside the bottle. Okay. And that's one of the things that I labored over. Like, how do you show that there is no label inside the bottle before it goes in? And so I've got two really cool methods for being able to do that now. Cool. My favorite one is, I think the first one that's played, is just there where you peel back the label, because you say you're going to do something with the label, and then you peel it back, you show the inside of the bottle, and then you instantly shake it inside the bottle. You give it out, it's properly sealed in there. The cap's not just glued on or anything, it's a perfect factory seal. So that's one of the things that you're learning as well, is my quick method for being able to retain a seal on a bottle and load things inside it. So sweet. Yeah, there's a few things on this. This is probably my favorite of all the illusions or tricks that I've created, just purely because I think now visually, aesthetically, it looks as real as it would be as if you'd actually done it. And so yeah, it being inside the Pringles pot is because when I gig, it's a bit weird to kind of be at a gig and just go, here's a bottle of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my way of performing it and bringing it in. So they actually select Coca-Cola, and then you show your prediction, and it's Pringles, and it's a bit of a comedy moment, but then you pop open the Pringles and there's a Coke bottle inside. And then you go into label, there's a kicker kind of finish, and you leave them with a souvenir. So it's kind of one of my top table effects for performing at, and yeah, I think it's like I say, probably the one that I'm most proud of, because I've spent like probably days, months thinking about this whole thing. If you totaled it all up, it'd be months of non-stop thought about the whole illusion and how to add to it and just tweak it and change it and improve it. And yeah, so labeled evolution is all those ideas, all the best ideas rolled into one package.
Very cool. And without going too deep into this question, because we're in the middle of talking about a couple of your releases here, and that one also, guys, is a download. So if you want to start learning how to do that today, that's out there. What is your approach to creating new magic? We've looked at two totally different projects now. One specifically on label and bottle, the other one a collection of different gimmicks that you can make yourself. When you're looking at something, whether it's a plot or an idea, how do you start? How do you start the creative process when it comes to a new trick?
I think it's a couple of different ways. I find my creativity peaks and troughs. I think it's like writer's block. Sometimes it's just not there, and sometimes it's there, like flooding out of me. But I think the way that I first start most of the things is just asking questions. I might look at something and go, can you get something inside of that? Or can you change that? Can you alter it in some way? And I try to, I'm not very into magic-y props and stuff like that. So like, sure. For instance, I'd rather use my shoe rather than a chop cup,
Okay. That's fun.
It's that kind of thing. So I kind of look at everyday objects and sweets and things like this, and just sometimes an idea will hit on me, and it would just be like, I think one that you're about to show, maybe that was just a light bulb moment where it was just sparked by something that I saw on packaging. But I either get inspired, that's the one, Linko there, yeah. So I realized that the mints were on the packaging, and why not link the mints on the packaging, and be able to give it away. So yeah, Linko is in Lifesaver edition and Polo edition for the UK. and that was just sparked by seeing it and going, oh, that'd be so cool if you could do that, and just getting it done, really. But yeah, I think sometimes I go through a creative high and I am useless at anything else. I just I can't function as a human being. I go set out to do something, and then I find myself in a cupboard, like with glue and stuff and paper, and I'm like, oh, you know,
You're immersed in it, man.
Drink, and I'll leave the cupboards open in the kitchen, and like, yeah, there's just mess everywhere, and it's the most unorganized kind of organization that I think I've ever seen. And yeah, so sometimes I just go through sort of these periods, and sometimes things are born out of it, and sometimes they just end up on the shelf. And some things end up on the shelf, and then I come back to them because something tweaks. But I think the more and more you learn about methodology in magic, the more and more that can help applying these different methods and ideas to different things. Yeah. And I think that's kind of like, you know, what I like doing.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people think that let's say that someone's new to magic, or maybe they've done it for a long time, and they want to start to develop their own stuff. The foundation is the most important part to anything that you do, not just with magic, but you're right. Like, the more knowledge you have, those are the tools that you have to build with and to build from. And without them, you're kind of flying blind, and you're going to recreate the wheel a whole lot of times playing that game.
So one of the things, when people ask me, like, how, you know, about magic and kind of learning it and stuff, the best way I can describe it is it's a bit like cooking. So if you start to learn to cook, what you want to do is you want to learn the basics. You want to learn, like, how to make a tomato sauce, or how to make a pasta, or learn how to use spices or whatever like that. And once you learn these components, that's when you can start picking bits from here and bits from there and putting them together to create something new with your own twist. But without that foundation, without that knowledge, you're kind of just, you know, chucking things in a pan and you know, coming up with, sometimes you might strike it lucky, but you probably more than often than not even know why it happened, you know. So
yeah, you're right, man.
You know, just I love learning. You know, one of the things I do is I love to learn about stuff, and I think that's really important. You know, just even if you don't use something, there's value in that knowledge. You know?
And you know, with so many new people into magic, they see the creating scene as a sexy thing, as a fun thing. They want to just jump right in. So I'm glad that you're saying some of these things, because it's a good reminder that while it's good to be excited, you know, make sure you're ready to jump in and to do that stuff. You know, just like any profession in this world, like, you can't just be the best at something without starting from the bottom and kind of learning and growing and practicing. If you're an athlete, you know, getting to the point where you can do it well. So it's a good reminder. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. I think that it's important, because there is a lot of, like you say, there's a lot of perceived glamour with creating. And sometimes, there's some huge benefits to it. You know, I'm very lucky in that I get to, you know, have my passion drive what I do, and then be able to put things out which I'm proud of, and things like that, and they can help, you know, get you noticed in different places and by different people. But you know, I think in this day and age, it's very easy with anything on the internet to just show the good stuff. You know, like, I mean, for example, Gimmick It Yourself 2 has taken me like months to get done. Because if I thought about how much money I've spent on the whole process, like creating the ideas, to filming everything myself, refilming everything when you realize it's bad, you know, then the whole editing process, you know, and then, you know, just there's so much that goes into any of my releases and things like that. There's, you know, it's not just this. Oh, look at that! I slapped that on the camera and boom, it's done. It's there's a lot that goes on, you know. But then you make, you know, I'm quite proud of the little trailer that I've made here, just because it's. I think what you're showing here is this is the short trailer I made for the Vault for Bro Gilbert. There is a longer trailer which talks a lot about the whole idea of what it is, and I think, you know, it's just, it fills me, which I'm proud of, which I like. So.
Nice. Well, like I mentioned before, I have another favorite, and we teased it a little bit. I'm going to bring it up here. Linko, you know, your creative process. I love how we're kind of tying this all together, because one of the things you mentioned was, you know, doing things with everyday objects and thinking about what if and getting inspired by things. And like you mentioned before, Linko was such a good example of that creative process in action. So let's take a look at this together. This is one of your classics, man. This is a Ben Williams classic right here. I love Linko. Why don't you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so Linko was one of these things that actually came from one of these creative sprees that I had. I would just go out and I would buy loads of sweet packets and things like that, and just see what I could do, you know, see if you could, you know, do anything with them. And when I was looking at the sweets, I realized that polos in the UK, the two O's of polo are actual polo mints. And there's obviously the classic linking polos effect, or linking mints. And I just thought, it just was like, why not do it on the packet? And I was very lucky I created it. And my buddy Alan Rorison was working as a consultant for Troy, for his TV show at the time. And he showed it to Troy, and Troy loved it, and he performed it on his TV show. And yeah, I was super stoked at that. And then, you know, I sort of thought, well, why not offer it out after a while? And then I saw, obviously, luckily, Lifesavers in the US, they have the mints on the packet as well, so you could do it with that. So there's a US version as well, and yeah, so it's, you get like the labels, and then you get a whole load of different ways to do it, depending on how you want to perform the link and how much prep you want to put into it, and you know, and then obviously there's the linking mints effects that go with it as well. So the way I teach the linking mints is I think on the download I do talk about the gimmick version that you can get.
Yes, you do.
I perform it with real mints, and so there's different handlings that I've got, different ways of doing it. And yeah, just one day I thought, I wonder if you could link them in the spectator's hand. And so the way I sort of perform it now is you show two mints, you pop them in the spectator's hand, and then you show the mints on the packet, you link them on the packet, and you say, well, if they've linked here, they must have linked in your hand as well. And they open up their hand, and now the real mints are linked inside their hand as well. And you can give it all away at the end if you want. And yeah, so that's basically Linko.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece of magic, guys. I've used this myself here in Vegas at the Jeff McBride Wonderground. I did a little bit of close-up magic there. And the other nice thing is, I know Ben mentioned that he goes over how to use the gimmick version to link the mints, but he also teaches you on the download how to make your own linked mints at home so that you can actually do it with the real mints as well. I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that not only do you get the labels to make the visual link happen on the wrapper, but you also do learn how to make your own linked mints to do that in their hands.
Yeah.
So,
and so yeah, you can. It's obviously, that's just a nice trick to bust out if you have it. You know?
Yeah, it's a great piece of magic, and super easy to do. You know, a lot of people ask, "Oh, Luke, this stuff looks cool, but is it easy?" Yeah, this one's really easy to do. So,
I think that's one of my things is I like simplicity. I like if you can get from point A to point B, you know, without having to squiggle all over the place, then that's the better option for me. And I think it's also, it's better for you as a performer because you don't have so much, you know, intricacy to deal with, and it's better for the people, you know, that are viewing it as well, because I mean, we're all magicians. We've all been in this game for ages. So when we see something, we're like, oh, it's that little move there, or he's doing that, or doing this. Like, lay people don't think like that.
True that.
And so you know, if you're doing a paddle move or something like that, a magician's going to see that and just be like, oh, well, that's just a paddle move. But a layperson is just seeing you showing two sides of something.
I
You
have
know?
no idea. Yeah.
So,
True that. Yeah, good reminder of there too, because it is true. Sometimes as magicians, we look at stuff as the magician, not as what the regular people see it as. So good
yeah,
reminder.
yeah. You know, and I think that you get that as well when you go out gigging as well,
Yep.
because when you're a hobbyist and you know, what you tend to do is you tend to show the same people different tricks.
Mm-hmm.
But when you gig, you show different people the same tricks, and you hone them and you make them, you know, as streamlined as and you know the best performances you can do. And I think when you're seeing so many different people, you know, I can perform to a couple of hundred people in a night, and you know, you start to realize, you know, just like the power in just a simple double lift. I there's you know I love that's one of my most favorite things to do, and I don't jazz it up, I don't make it a transposition, I don't, you know, throw it in with 10 other different reveals where it's in my pocket and in my mouth and all that. Like sometimes I jazz it up like that, no. But when I like to do a double lift just purely as a double lift, you know, so I'll kind of I'll get the control part of it done as quickly and as streamlined as possible, and then it's just straight away a card goes on their hand and I just ask them to imagine that card is changing into their card. And just the use of simple words like imagine sounds, you can be really funny and entertaining, but I think it's important to realize and to not forget that mystery is entertaining as well. Like, you know, and just by using the word imagine, just for a moment, imagine that was your card, then the anticipation in them builds up, and the reaction, you know, it's just a miracle. It's a miracle for a person, you know. And so I don't think it needs to be overworked. It is what it is, and it's fantastic. So
yeah, well said. Yeah, and you know, as magicians sometimes take off the hat and remember, simple can slay for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of hats, you wear a lot of hats too. Not only as a performer and a creator, but now you're becoming more of a content creator, which is really fun to watch.
Yes.
I've been paying attention to you and this new venture of yours, you know, in this creative space. You are now the Magic Dad. The Magic Dad's brand has been born. And yeah, why don't we talk about this? I'll scroll through. This is the Facebook page for this, so you guys should check it out. What is the Magic Dads? What is going on here, Ben Williams?
Right. So I was lucky enough to become a father 7 years ago, and I now have two children, my daughter Arabelle and my son Grayson. And I'll get this out here straight away. The whole Magic Dad idea actually was my wife's idea. I was working for magicshop.co.uk for a long time, and I left there just to pursue performing. And we were talking, and she was kind of like, what's your USP? You know, what's your unique standpoint? And she was like, you know, you're a dad and you do magic, like dad magic. And I was just like, yes. And I love being a dad. I absolutely love the whole process of being a parent and teaching, you know, and inspiring my children. And I, you know, doing magic for them is just been so much fun. And they, you know, there's, you know, just simple stuff like, you know, just making a spoon appear if they need it for their cereal or something like that. You know, I mean, they've seen so much magic now. It's crazy. But yeah, I had this whole idea of doing a platform to teach parents how to do magic, because there's magic sets for kids and there's how to learn how to be a magician and everything like this. But so many gigs that I go to, I get parents just ask me to teach them a simple trick to show their kids. And there's no real platform to show parents how to do magic for their kids. And, you know, so that's kind of like the idea that started to come from this. And it's just taken so long to kind of get around to actually making it a reality. And with the lockdown that happened in March, I decided, when all the gigs disappeared and all my bookings got moved to next year and everything, I thought, right, now's the time to really push forwards with Magic Dads. And so this website here is magicdads.uk,
Hello.
which is hello. So it's essentially all the tutorials are very quick. They're all on my hands, streamlined, but with all the information that's necessary, but without too much fluff, because parents don't want to be magicians. If they wanted to be a magician, then they would have already looked for it, but this is just a few awesome tricks that you can do for your kids. So it's not teaching you to be a magician, but it might be a platform to start that.
Yeah.
But it's all, sleight of hand free, simple magic that's, impactful as well. So that's kind of where I've been with that. And I kind of have taken because I love creating content as well. I love creating stuff. And so I've kind of taken it upon myself to, throughout December here, to do a daily magic video. And I had all these ideas all kind of like written down of what I would do. And then the first day of filming came, and for some reason it hit me that I thought it would be fun if the Magic Dad and Santa were buddies and Santa spoke to me in my videos. And it was actually Santa telling me what to do that made the magic happen, rather than me just going, hey, look at this, and doing a magic trick to camera and going, Merry Christmas kind of thing. Like, I thought, it just felt more natural for me to kind of act it out a bit. And I just started to roll with the idea. And now, 17 days in, Santa and Magic Dad are buddies. And I call it banter with Santa. That's just the whole lot. I think with each of the videos, I think they're a bit more kind of sketch based rather than, so you see magic, there's always a great, or I'd like to think a great magic trick involved. But the whole idea is to try and tie it in. So like, for example, throughout December, there's been so many emails from schools because they're not sending letters home and things like that, but there's all these emails. There's probably 5 emails a day from each school. And it's like, what's going on? And so there's one of the videos that starts off with me kind of trying to remember what to do and then asking Santa for help. Like, have you got a trick to remember all this stuff? And then I have an effect that goes with that. I don't want to ruin it just in case anyone wants to go to the page and check them all out. But yeah, it's been a great creative process to kind of think about how to integrate magic with this whole Santa thing, but then also, just churning ideas out every day. You kind of, that creativity is kind of like, the more you feed it, the more it can grow, if you like. And it's some days have been an absolute nightmare. It kicked my butt. It really has, because I thought, you bust out 3 videos a day and I'll be well ahead. No, each video takes me about in between 3 and I think the longest one was 7.5 hours to do.
Oh my gosh.
Because, like I'm filming them all myself and everything and editing them and acting them all, scripting them, like gimmick building every day, and then you get to the process where you're editing and so then I have to fill in the Santa voice, and sometimes I might not have, I have to go back and film it again because I might not have left enough space for Santa to talk, or I might think of something really funny which then I want to put in there. There's one that I do with sprouts, like Brussels sprouts, where it's the 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket trick. And I filmed that, like I filmed it I don't know how many times, and because when you watch it back, you're like, oh, I moved off camera there or something like that, but I got a clean take and I was happy with it. And then I thought, I could probably make this better, because at one point my hand kind of went off screen, and I thought, oh, if I didn't do that, then that leaves nowhere for people to go with the method. And so I just obsessed over that, and then I refilmed it. And when I got to the edit, I was like, oh no, what if Santa said that? That'd be well funny. And so I went back and refilmed it again, and and then go back to the editing process and chucking in the Santa voice. But it's been really good fun, and the kind of feedback that I've got from it is everyone's kind of enjoying them and thinking that they're just fun videos, really. So I think that's Magic Dad's page is going to be all about fun content like that. Obviously, being a part of the Magic Circle, I can't teach magic on there.
Right.
But I do have a Facebook group, so if anyone buys the course, they can be part of the group as well. And in there, I'm just chucking more and more ideas on, and just variations of ideas as well. I'm going to step it up and have a couple of other courses, like simple skills and things that people can learn, and yeah, just see where it goes, really. But I think I would love to be able to do this, and be the Magic Dad and help other parents, teachers, doctors, whatever, anyone that interacts with children and wants to inspire them and engage them. I have my sort of tagline is be more than just a hero, because it's all about just doing that extra bit, really. So, that's the video that sparked it all.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
and
yeah.
At the end of the day too, it's such a good reminder as well, Ben, that so many people these days want to take being a magician so serious, and they want to be this cool character that's like mysterious, and then there's a very different side where you can just be yourself and you can have fun, and that's okay. And I think that's great for people to see that you don't just have to try to be one thing. You don't have to try to be David Blaine where you're like, gonna show you something. You can actually have fun.
I used to do that when I was mind reading. It's like, what is that? Like, my wife just said, stop doing it. Stop it. What are you doing? And I kind of realized, and that's completely true, because when I first started performing and performing professionally, I was like a carbon copy of some other people. I drew inspiration from Daryl, and so his Fool Do the series was great, and and I used to perform the tricks as I learned them and everything like that. And it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. So now I'm just myself. I don't have a stage name. I'm just Ben Williams when I perform. I go out, and I think the first thing that I do when I'm performing is I introduce myself, and I ask people for their names, and I shake everyone's hands, and then I kind of go into everything. And I find just simply doing something like asking somebody their name, and then say you bump into them coming out the toilet or something later on in the gig, and you go, oh, sorry, John, that means something to them.
Yep.
And I'm just myself, and that allows me to I do the magic, and sometimes I can just have fun with it, but sometimes like if I'm doing something like, say, Omni Deck or a double lift, I'll slow something down, and I'll make it a point of focus, and I'll change the atmosphere slightly to get that drama and get that kind of emotive reaction, and then when people like ask how I do it, I'm just like, it's magic, isn't it? What do you want me to say? And then I'm just myself again. And I think that's, it really is true that when you perform, the best way to perform is to be yourself plus sort of 10%, if you like,
Sure.
like accentuate yourself in some manner, but just be yourself. Don't try and be someone else,
Well said. Yeah. And you guys are seeing it here, not only as a performer, but also as a creator. Put yourself out there, put yourself into the magic you create, and that'll also help make it stand out and be unique as well. So a lot of good.
I only put something out if I'm proud of it, if I like it, and I think it's worthy of some, of putting it out there. I don't try, there's so many brain farts that I've had that I could have tried to make into a product just to try and sell something and make some money. But I don't see the value in that. I don't see the pride. Where's the pride in that? I want to be able to look back on my things like you just show me here. I don't so much look back on my products, but seeing labeled Evolution, the trailer coming up, like feeling that I had when I put that out, that's my heart and soul there, and I'm proud of it. And it's good to look back on it. I'd rather look back on these things and be proud of them rather than kind of go, I wish I didn't put that out.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the internet now. Nothing goes away. You put it out there, it's there forever. So yeah. Speaking of the internet and the social media and all the fun stuff, if people want to keep up with you and see more of what you're doing, I've tried to, promote some things here and there, but put them all together in one place. Why don't you do a little plug for, websites, social media accounts, anything and everything goes. Where can they find more Ben Williams?
Yeah. So my Facebook is facebook.com/Ben Williams Magic. So you can friend me there or follow me there. My Magic Dads page is @MagicDads, and that's on Instagram as well. I think on Instagram, because I have my Magic Dads page on Instagram, and then I have my just Ben Williams page. And I think that's just, I think I should have known this. I think that's Instagram.com/Ben Williams, or Ben Mofo Williams it might be. But yeah, maybe I'll drop into the All Things Magic and just drop a couple of links in there. But I've also got Unbelievable Magic. It's my performing website. So I have Instagram.com/Unbelievable Magic, and that's where I put all gig pictures and stuff like that. So it's been a bit dry this year. but yeah, they're the main sort of channels which I do on social media.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys. Well, you just had a chat with me and Ben Williams. You joined in here. Thank you for hanging out with us. Definitely check him out. Any of those places he mentioned, check him out. And as you can see, Ben's just a great guy. And if you make it to Blackpool one year, I know Ben is able to come sometimes, and sometimes he has other commitments where there's family or busy as a performer. But
funny story, this my buddy Chris Webb, who's also a great creator as well. He one year his son was born, and it was the week before Blackpool, and so he was like, "Oh no, well we haven't timed that very well." And I gave him a, "Ha ha ha ha, what are you doing?" And then a couple of years later, the same thing happened to me, but on Blackpool weekend. So my son was born on Blackpool weekend, so it's always a bit tough now. But yeah, I try to make it up for at least a day or so, and because that's kind of that's my one me weekend, if you like.
I get it.
I can do, my wife gives me a free pass, and I'm just like, I could just go and drink and do magic and just have fun, really. So yeah, if you are at Blackpool, if you do see me, by all means come and say hello. I'm not gonna give you some
get away from me. Ben's a great guy. Buy him a beer, buy him a pint, and he's got his time away to be himself, so hang out with him. And yeah, it is cool and I'm a Magic Dad too, so I totally get it. And we definitely try to make the best of the time that we do have when we get to hang out with each other. So yeah. Exactly. All right, man. Well, thank you for hanging out with me here. I hope you have a great holiday. I know you're dressed up and ready, and more Santa videos coming soon, so you guys keep an eye out for those as well.
Yes.
So
no, well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me along. I really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Sure. All right, guys. Well, take care out there. Happy holidays to everybody. And I will be back next time. But in the meantime, take care of yourself and each other. I will see you guys.